Welcome back to another episode of Desire to Inspire, yo mama's favorite podcast. We've done a lot since the last time we've talked.
I know. I was just thinking, I wish I had the energy I had yesterday.
Yes, I do too.
Fucking dancing around.
We were laughing. We were like, Dylan was getting it at the end of the table.
I don't know why, dude. I was just in a dancing mood.
You were hitting it.
In something.
Yeah, lots happened. We finally went and can talk about the Do Hard Things conference. Give you guys a little recap of what that weekend looked like, what we took away from it and of it, and then also kind of just like using that as leverage, I think, to see what the future holds. Yeah,
I was gonna ask, do you feel like you've got to really execute on any of it yet, or has it just been like so go since? Because you went right into a work trip,
yep,
right into a birthday weekend.
It has been go, but I've had meaningful conversations from that during that travel and during that like chaotic period of just fucking guns blazing since the conference. So I think that I have been able to take action from it, but to the extent that I want to, no, not yet. And yeah, so
I would agree. I'm kind of like in the same space where I've definitely like, how do I put it? I don't know. I feel like I've definitely like started to shift that way, but same thing. Like I knew that we had your birthday coming up. I knew I'm home next week, which is really not an excuse. Should just hop right into it. But it's like there's so much shit going on. But then I'm back and it's locked in for marathon.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm not going now. We canceled a camping trip with my family, so we're not going in September anymore. I'm here all of next month, and I don't go home again to the end of October.
That'd be nice.
I'm pretty much locked in almost till marathon time.
Yep.
I have like one thing between now and the marathon that I need to do.
That's awesome.
Other than that, I'm trying to say no to everybody, so don't ask me to do shit.
Interaction with boldness, baby. We'll dive into it though. Let's kind of start from the top, and I guess I'll give a quick rundown of what the days looked like, and then we can just jump in wherever we want on the different things.
I just told Freddie, disclaimer, I wish that I'd have brought like a notebook that had everything from the conference in it, because they're all on my phone, per usual.
I think,
and there's my phone.
Filming us. Speaking of phones, I have to first apologize. The last two episodes wore dog shit on my angle because I used a different phone, a newer phone, a different camera, didn't adjust the settings to what our settings were on the phone Dylan uses and then the other camera that I use. So
I didn't even think about it when we were doing it either.
I didn't either.
As soon as I started editing, I'm like, oh, he's about to be pissed.
Yeah, I'm livid because they were such powerful episodes. I haven't got to see the clips from last week, so I'm doing that today. But
there's at least the main camera in that one though too. So you at least have some that are pulled from there.
That is good. So camera should be back on normal. I appreciate the people that called us out on it. Always give us the feedback, even if we don't want to hear it. But I knew it, and every single time I read one of those messages, I was like, I fucking know. Like, I know I look like Casper, the friendly ghost, compared to Dylan.
We're still looking for anyone who wants to come do this for us.
Yeah, the applications still fly in, but haven't found one that fits.
No perfect fit yet.
So the Do Hard Things 2024 conference, first and foremost, thank you for inviting me to go to that, because the sense of the wave of life that we've been talking about lately, I feel like that just helped it substantially push it forward in terms of clarity, and things that have been going around in my mind, and I would imagine yours as well, kind of like taking those little pieces and putting them to a puzzle, being like, all right, I can do this, I can do that. But it was a 3-day conference. Got there on Thursday, had like a little VIP lunch, got to meet everybody, put face to quite a few names that we've had on this podcast previously to season 1. So it was really cool to meet those people. Kind of felt like I was an insider without being an insider yet, because they all know you so well. So that was that day. And then registration for everything. Day 2 was cold plunge, breathwork. Should we go day by day and then elaborate, or should we give
okay.
You can do that. So VIP lunch, what did it feel like being back in the building with those people that you've talked very highly of on this podcast and that we've had on it?
It always feels like I'm just like getting back together with the boys, but in such a different way than every other aspect of my life. It's like if you could harness all that energy 24/7, I feel like we'd be light years ahead of where we're at.
Yeah.
But it's like just being like back around them, I feel like I'm literally a different person. Like it feels like I'm not even the same person as I am everywhere else. And it's very odd. Like it's kind of like out of body.
Yeah. It did have just this like, it was almost like a sense of like calmness, but like extreme motivation.
You have no expectations on you. You have no like preconceived notions of like who you are or what you do. It's like we're there and we talk about our fitness, we talk about faith, we talk about like business stuff, and it's all like very positive momentum building things. Mm-hmm. So like that's all that these people know you as, especially like I have personal relationships with quite a few of them where we've been together through all kinds of different shit, but it's still like the constant through all of it has been growth. And so like coming back together and connecting, it's just so different than like connecting with any of my other friends.
Yeah. Yeah. It was a wild experience. Everybody was asking me afterwards, how was it? I was trying to like use it, like find a word that was as powerful enough to be able to emphasize what it was, what it meant to me. I kept saying amazing. It was amazing. I was like, I don't know how to describe that anymore, but it was just amazing. And again, it was from meeting all of those people. And dude, even you don't go up to them and shake their hand and be like, oh, I'm so-and-so. You go up to them, you fucking give them a big ass hug. Yeah. Hey, great to meet you. Like they were just awesome. The energy in there every single day was electric, and it was very like positive feeling. But again, and as they preached, it's going to feel that way at a conference like this. What are you going to do outside of it? Which I'm happy and excited to dive more into as we talk about the different days. Day one. You got anything else on day one?
Oh, are we diving in? I didn't know if we were just like going a gist of like what they are and then diving in.
Let's dive into day one.
I mean, cold plunge and breathwork is kind of what it is. It's not. I feel like it's a bigger deal if you've never done it. Like if these are like your first time. I do think that breathwork is probably something I should implement more often because I never do it.
Yeah.
And I used to do it, and I don't do it at all.
Yep. So at the start of the day, 9 a.m., we had two massive, like 10.
It's like a feeding trough, basically.
Yeah. For like they would have on farms.
Yeah.
So two massive feeding troughs that were filled with water. They were dumping ice in it. And 4 people would go up in a group, do like a quick breath work. So that way the people that haven't done ice baths know like your body is going to get shocked. You are going to start breathing heavy. Just remain calm, take those breaths in, and then it'll get easier. Which I really enjoyed getting back into the cold plunge because as we've talked about on here, I do cryotherapy more than cold plunging. But I think I might end up getting, because we got a cryo that's right down the road. If I can't find a way to get my hands on a cold plunge.
Bro, so I went to this place. I went to that place finally.
It was good.
You need to do the free one.
Okay.
You have 90 minutes. You're not like on, you just go in and you cycle through yourself. So like we went in, and this is going to tie back to the breath work. We did like 15 to 20 minutes in a sauna. Then you come out, they have a 40, a 45, and a 50-degree tub. And it's not like the ice, like where they're dumping more. It stays that temperature no matter what, dude. I got in the 40. Immediately, my fingers and my toes were like numb. Like he's like, you might want to put your hands and your feet out because that's where it's going to get the worst.
Oh, wow.
And so Mandy goes to get in, and she can't even get in. She's like, she was telling me beforehand. I was like, how long are you going to? She's like, I don't know, like 15 minutes. I said, it's like a 2 or 3 minute thing. She's like, we used to do it in volleyball all the time for college. Like, I'll be fine. Couldn't get in.
Damn.
Like the first round, couldn't get in at all. And so the guy who owns the place comes in. He's talking to us while we're in the sauna. He's like, I can coach you through if you want. And I was trying to get her to do the breath stuff, but it's a lot easier coming from somebody else.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, coach her through.
Yep.
So he coaches her, and it's all breath work. Like he's having her breathe beforehand, and then the same thing. And so she did 3 minutes, and she was like, yeah, it's totally different. Like you get in the ice, and then it starts to regulate your temperature. I'm like, yeah, it's a completely different thing. But this place is dope, and I think it's like a month. You can get like 4 visits for like $90 or something, and it's all hour-and-a-half sessions. And I did 4 cycles through.
Damn.
And they also were like, we also don't check the time. Like, take as long as you want, pretty much.
Okay.
So the sauna is big, fit a lot of people, and there's 3 different tubs.
Oh, that's dope.
And there's like a shower to rinse off from sauna before the tub, and then there's like a little bench that's heated too.
Okay.
So like from the cold plunge, you can sit on this little bench to kind of like bring your body temp back up instead of jumping right back in the sauna.
How did you feel doing that contrast therapy versus just like a cold plunge by itself?
It made both of them. It made the sauna more enjoyable and the cold plunge way fucking harder. Because I was coming straight out the sauna and getting in the tub.
Damn. Did they measure your body temperature to see what that drop was that fast?
No.
Huh.
I didn't go back in that 40 though.
No?
Straight to the middle one. and sometimes to the end one. That 40 was insane.
Damn. That had to feel wild. Getting in a cold plunge, like, if you guys never have, do it, but make sure it like is cold enough that it's going to do something. Again, there's levels to cold plunging, so start with cold showers and work your way. But when you get in that cold plunge, you can just feel that like brown fat, I think they call it, and your like whole core just start like tensing up by itself. It's like it's the weirdest feeling to me.
I never really think of breathwork when I do it because I'm like, it's 2-3 minutes. Like I can regulate my own breathing. But after like seeing Mandy have to get coached, I was like, oh, this is a real thing. Like you really gotta people gotta focus in and get this thing going.
Yep. I mean, it's literally a mental battle, but once you can get that like relaxation and your breathing down, you kind of just like zone out. Now you're like one with the water, just sitting there like, all right, it's fucking cold, but I got this. I
was saying with Solidarity, she didn't get in right away because she was breathing, so I was already in there, so I just stayed in for like 5 minutes just to let her finish up her 3. I was like, I'll stay.
I don't want to. Yeah. So the cold plunge was cool because there was people that hadn't done it before, and there's people there of all ages, and there was also guys, girls, ladies, gentlemen, like everybody was there.
And it's not like everybody was super fit either. Which I feel like is what most people expect it to be who don't know. Yeah. But it's literally people from all different stages of life just trying to get better.
Yep. And the breathwork session, we did an extended one after that in an auditorium. It was led by Jay. And, man, that was powerful.
I wish they would have announced that was going to happen.
Yeah.
Because people left. Yep. And I almost left. If they hadn't said it like 2 minutes beforehand, I would have left too.
And that session, I took a lot away from that. But when they were talking about doing ayahuasca and stuff, it always intrigues me. But then there's that little thing in the back of my head that I'm like, that shit kind of fucking scares me.
I know I'm going to do it. It's just a matter of when. Yeah. And I talk to Jay about it all the time because he's tried to get me to go on 3 different retreats. And I'm like, I want to feel the pull. I want to do it myself, but I don't want to just jump into it when it's not like the right time. Yeah. And then it fucked me up.
Yep. Yeah. So in the breathwork session, we did 3 rounds of like 30 to 40 breaths, I think it was, each round. And he was like coaching us through it and how you breathe in, let it get all the way down into your stomach, and then you exhale out. And so you do that like 30, 40 times. And then there was a second round where you sped that process up. And this is all like breathwork is all centered around like life being busy, life being like crazy. You might have like anxiety that day. You might be worked up for a presentation. You might be at a party and feel overwhelmed because you're hosting it. Breathworks gives you that time to kind of like ground yourself and be with yourself again. And so what Jay told us during this practice is it doesn't always have to be a 20-minute session. If you're hosting a party and you're feeling overwhelmed, if you and your spouse are in an argument, step away and do breath work. If you're pressured at work to do something, step away and do breath work for 2 minutes and just take in deep breaths, let them out, and kind of like ground yourself to like get back in tune with your body and realize that it's like going to be okay. You're going to get through it. And then just keep pushing through whatever that assignment or day looks like for yourself.
Makes you focus on the breath rather than everything else that's going on. So you're focused on the actual breathing for those, even if it's 2 to 3 minutes. And whatever you're stressed about is typically gone during that time. And yeah, it's going to come back. And he even talked about like, it's going to come back. And that's a normal thing. Like the more that you do it and the more you make it a practice, the longer you can kind of sustain that kind of peace. But it's more just like, to know that I can let these thoughts go, that they're just thoughts and they're going to come and go. And if I put focus somewhere else, then I can kind of release that.
Yeah. Yeah, which it felt really good. And then the last round of it, you let out like this like noise or like a and you like breathe in and those vibrations will then trigger different things to kind of just like mellow you back out. And like Dylan said, get your mind off of things. So that way you can just come back and then try and push forward with whatever situation you're going through at that time.
So after that, it was pretty much like you're on your own for a few hours. And this conference varied very much from my last one. My last one, it was like we had like a core group who we would go do something. We went for a hike. We went and did other stuff. This year, it was pretty much just me and you. And I think a big part of that is a lot of the guys that were that core group the first year are now a big part of it. They're hosting or they're giving keynotes or they're doing stuff like that. So they just had to also go have time for themselves and like create space. But I think that while that was like my favorite part of the last one, this time was different, and it allowed us to actually like have conversations about where we want to take DTI and what we want to kind of get after the conference, after whatever, and actually be able to focus on it. We talk about it a lot here where, hey, we need to like have a conversation, but it's just easy when there's other people around or just other things going on to get distracted by it when we're here. Where that whole weekend was centered around it, I feel like those were some of probably the biggest takeaways of the weekend. We're just having that time.
Yeah, I really just enjoyed being out there with you and having that time to kind of to go through that, because I've never been to a conference that was centered around this kind of stuff or like had any influence in an environment like that would be that impactful. But not only that, I think that time away for you and I helped a lot to just, again, the vision never changes, the things never change, but the things that we want to achieve or work on more or whatever, like that's what we're always building and growing when we're talking about this. We're not talking when we say that, oh, we're talking about things on the back end and things are coming, this and that. Like the overall message of DTI, the overall meaning of DTI is DTI. What we mean when we say this is, how do we elevate that? How do we create more? How do we do more? How do we make it better? How do we improve? Because as we do all of those things, DTI will grow to what we want it to be, to hopefully in turn be our single drive of income to be able to go out and spread this message, do these things that we're doing, but on a bigger scale, because they're evolving over time, as it should with any business or thing that started.
And there's so many things that can come off of DTI as a whole. I mean, look at Do Hard Things as a brand. It's now a conference. It's now a group. It's one-on-one coaching. It's business coaching. It's all of these different things, but the main vision is the same thing.
Yeah.
So the same thing for us. I think like the biggest thing about the weekend was something that they preach in the community all the time, is just creating space. And we're just constantly always, there's so much shit going on that we never create the space to focus just on the business, which is our own fault.
Yeah.
But it's just, I don't know. We've been busy as fuck. Not an excuse, but it's like we literally come in, record, and then we're like, all right, gotta go. Yeah. And so hopefully things are slowing down. Hopefully like this taught us to create some space and put the focus where it needs to go. And I think that it did. I think that we're going to be able to pull it together here.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, I think that was the biggest thing, was just being able to create space and actually be able to focus on where we want to go next.
Yeah. Mike Donatelli had one of the greatest opening speeches, and it was all about creating space. And he's like, I got 3 things for you guys this week. First one, create space. And he gets his mic enthusiasm, and he's like, create space, and he jumps off his stage, and he sits down next to someone. He's like, create space by filling the space that you're in, by making the conversations while you're here, by doing these different things. Fill the space, create the space to have those conversations, to meet somebody. If you see somebody standing by themselves, go over there, interact with them, talk to them, get to know them. And he's like, number 2, create the space. And then he was talking about, like, if conversations die, fill those conversations up with something. Somebody say something to keep the conversation driving, to continue to talk. And then the third one was create the space, which was filling the space between activity and then keynote speakers, filling that space, meeting new people, going out to lunch with different people, or doing something beneficial during that time, because it's put in place for a reason. And so everybody's laughing and they're cheering and everything like that after. But it is huge. I mean, even since I've been home or I've been on the road traveling, I won't have the radio on, because that was one thing that I think Ty talked about, was like, when you're in the car, you don't always have to have something going. Give yourself time to think. Give yourself time to relax. Don't have music on. Don't have this.
Re-listen to his keynote on the way here.
I can't wait. I want to find them all.
They're on YouTube.
Are they?
He put his up.
Okay.
And I know Ryan's is on YouTube. They
all
both
right.
put them on their channels.
Maybe we can somehow tag those in here so people can go and watch it, because I think that, I mean, those were powerful fucking speeches, and we'll get into how they impacted us.
I'm selfishly pumped because the next like 6 weeks of the community are all of them coming on as guest speakers to do like Q&A around their own speeches.
Fuck yeah. That's dope. So cold plunges, breathwork, keynote speakers were in the evening time after the break.
I'm trying to think who was day one. It was Dylan, it was Tyler, and it was Petey.
Yep.
Which I don't think we need to break down a full speech. We will, for sure. I'll link the speeches in, the ones that I have anyway.
Yeah.
But like, if there's anything specifically that you took away, like that's big that you want to talk about, definitely down for that.
One thing, and all of these speeches impact me in different ways. What I loved about these speeches is that it didn't only impact me for me, but it impacted me for like how I go about my relationship with now my friends, how I go about a relationship with you and I because we have something else attached to it, how I go about my relationship with my family, with my girlfriend, how do I take that to the next level? Like all of these things, how do you take those to the next level to not only be good for yourself, that's the main thing, always focusing on this, but then even being that extension to those other people. Because if you want to, however Petey said it, but pretty much like God puts people in place to be leaders in different sorts of way, in different aspects. And I just listened to his sermon yesterday because I really want to start like listening on like Sundays to the week before that he did, or the week of, whatever it is. But one thing that he said in there that related to this was that you don't have to have everything. You don't always have to have the biggest house, the biggest job, the biggest paycheck, the biggest this, the biggest that to impact life. He goes, somebody in our congregation died last week and he was homeless. And Steve was this person that shined light. He would come in here and he would shine positivity. He would bring people in. He lived at like one of the homeless shelters down the road. And when he passed away, Petey went there. And they were like, Steve loved that place. Oh my gosh. All he talked about was how you got to go to Peak City. You got to go to Peak City. You got to go to Peak City. And he was like, Steve didn't have to have the wealth. Steve didn't this. Steve's got the biggest mansion in heaven right now. Steve's got the most comfortable bed in heaven right now. He doesn't have to worry about all that. God put somebody in place in your life to be, or puts you in life to be this, we'll say, shining light in this world. And so for me, I think that there's different ways that I can do that. And so Petey's message at the conference was don't quit. Like there's seasons of life and some of them are going to be hard. Some of them are going to like make you want to stumble or give up or whatever. But just whatever that season is in your life, don't quit. Whether it's your relationship because things get hard and, oh, this really bothered you. Don't mean the grass is going to be greener on the other side. Mm-hmm. Don't quit. When you have kids and everybody's like, oh, isn't it so great to be a parent? Sometimes it fucking sucks. You're up at 2 a.m. You're up at 4 a.m. You slept for an hour. And that's okay that it sucks. And you can admit that it sucks. But it's a season. So get through the season. And so to me, that was like one of the biggest things that I took away from the conference is just everything. Bad job. Car goes down. Hard to pay bills that month. Like whatever it is, it's a season. Keep pushing to get through it. And so that was a big message that I took away from this conference. I would say there was like 3 and that was one of them.
I think it's so wild like how people hear things in such different ways. Because I feel like, and Ashley even said it in hers, was like, this is, everything hits somebody in a different way. Like everyone could take this message a different way. And I'll actually get to what I was going to say there because it's not tied into where I was about to go. Okay. But I do have something to say about that next. But I'm going to lightly jump ahead to kind of Zach's keynote just to piggyback off what you were saying about Petey's. So like where you said about Petey, where it's like you don't have to have this big house, this car, whatever, to have an impact or to shine light or to whatever it is. Mm-hmm. Zach's is kind of running along that same path where he's basically saying that so many people want to chase these things. And I had never really heard it phrased this way, and it actually really hit. He's like, people are chasing the next title, they're chasing the car, they're chasing the promotion, they're chasing a raise, they're chasing whatever it is that they think is going to be something. And basically he like tied it back to Adam and Eve. And when they could have whatever, they just can't have that apple. And he's like, and so many of us look at it and we're like, why would they eat that apple? Like that's the one thing you didn't have to do. But that's the same symbolism of them just wanting more. Mm-hmm. And how many times do we get what we want and then we want more? And so it's, while we're chasing these things, it's, I think he even said it's like kind of like a slap in the face of like what God's already given you or like what you're already created to be. Mm-hmm. And it's like, I'm sure that they didn't do it purposely, but like they can tie back together all of these keynotes.
Yeah. They all like hit differently. And like in the Zach analogy, just to like dive deeper into that, is people, you need to ground yourself. Like what you have right now, you were once dreaming of. You were once talking about that you wanted. You were once like, oh my God, life would be so good if I had this. The house, the job, the girlfriend, the car, the snacks in your pantry, the vacation you take. And so Zach is saying like, pump the brakes a little bit. Sometimes that next promotion that might be $400,000 might not be worth it because now it's taking you away from your family. Now it's taking you away from the things that you truly have the desire in life to go after or want to make a priority. And so taking that promotion might take you away from those things that are really important. So does it matter to take that? Again, we're always chasing. So it's like, oh, let me get the higher salary. Let me get the better job. Let me get the nicer car because I can now. But not always what you can do is what you should do. And so it's easy to look around and be like, oh, I can do this. So should I do it? Oh man, I once dreamed of this. Should I do it? But like, there's even been things since then that I'm like, I'm not going to buy this right now. I don't need it. I'm not going to do this right now. I don't need it. Because I want to now tailor my attention and my energy towards those things. Building DTI, making Lo and I live the life we want, from hopefully increasing our faith, our belief in that kind of stuff. Because those guys, man, if you guys don't have any faith, if you guys don't have any belief, get around those fucking guys. Mm-hmm. If you have an inkling or whatever that word is that you want to start getting a bigger faith, that you want to start getting closer to God, hang around those guys, because it is powerful how they speak, how they talk, and how they look. Like PD, when I met him, he's not
what you picture
right.
to be a preacher to be.
He's a preacher. What? He's got tattoos. I got tattoos. I didn't think we could have tattoos. Mm-hmm. He's got long hair. We can have long hair. He's got this. Wait, did he just say a swear word?
I can't have long hair.
Did he just say a swear word? Wait, does PD have a cigar pipe and tobacco on his Instagram? Oh my God, he's one of us.
Right next to the Bible, right?
Right next to the Bible.
This is my morning routine.
Yes. And so it's so relatable because now I can look at these guys that are walking and that have this faith and that literally build their brands on it and be like, okay, I'm not as far off as I thought I was from having faith or getting closer to God.
That's even more of like what they talked about, is that so many of us, like, we think that we need to be this perfect image to even, and I go through this all the time, and say I never want to talk about my own faith because I don't feel like I'm the person to do it. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times we are the person to do it. And he even says, God qualifies the unqualified. You're the one who's supposed to go out and talk about it, because that's who's going to relate to him. That's who that they can actually feel like they see themselves in. Mm-hmm. The person who's realistically this, oh, it's my Sunday best, this is what I wear to church every week, but they're showing up like that on Sunday morning and then they're going home and who knows what they're doing.
Yep.
Most of the people like in these religions are huge hypocrites anyway. And I think that that's what turns people off to it. But when you can find these people who do live this lifestyle and they look just like you, it's so much more powerful.
Yeah. Yep. And PD said, he was like, a way to grow your faith is look at it from this perspective. You go to work for 8 hours a day. You're really good at your job because you're doing that 5 days a week. You do that for 12 months out of a year. You're doing that for 4 years. You get really good at it because of the time you put in. You can do a marathon because of all the time you put in training. You can keep a relationship because of all the time and attention you put in that. He's like, you can get into music. You can get into all these different things because you put the time in. But then you only give God an hour every Sunday. How do you expect to grow your faith when you're only putting in an hour in every Sunday? And how do you like put in the repetitions more? So what is that? Putting on church music or like the hip hop music that they had going in there that was like the church, I don't know what you call it, church music was fire. So it's like, do you put that on instead of this other music? Do you put on one of PD's sermons that you missed or services that you missed instead of putting on a different podcast? And so it's like, how can you give God more attention and put more time in so that way in return that faith and belief starts growing? Because now you're not just putting in an hour a week, you're putting in 2, 3, 4, 5 as that continues to grow.
Yeah, I don't know if you read my newsletter, but that's literally what it was about this last week, was the whole, what Tyler said about you give God an hour and then you give sports 25.
Oh, it was Tyler that said it.
Well, I think they all said it in a way, but like he said it. I also just heard it on the way here.
Okay.
But he was like, you give God an hour, and he was basically saying, like, I say that I want to grow faith, and he's like, I was talking to a mentor, and I said, I come to church every Sunday, I'm smiling, I'm happy, and there's times where I'm begging God to be in my life, and he's not there, and he's like, well, what are you doing for the rest of the week? Mm-hmm. And it's so true. It's like, we look at it as, oh, we just show up on Sunday, and we're all good. And that's been something I've like really been trying to focus on this year, is like, not just on Sundays.
Yeah.
But before this, I really wasn't even going every Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was something that I thought about, and I would listen to podcasts, but I wasn't stepping foot in a place. And it's an entirely different feeling being in a place as well. Like having like the live music and stuff like that, it's totally different than anything else.
Yeah.
So like if I could go more than once a week, I think I would.
Really?
Like I told Manny on Saturday night, I said, I'm like excited to go to church in the morning. Like, and
That's
I
dope.
feel like that every Saturday. I'm like, oh, I'm ready to go tomorrow. And so I guess it is that though. It's what are you doing for the rest of the week?
Mm-hmm.
It's not, you don't got to give him 40 hours, but give him another one.
Yep.
Give him a little more time.
Yep. Yeah, it's just so weird because like you bring up like people probably already tuned out because it's like, oh, they're talking about God, they're talking.
I
about
literally
church.
said it in the newsletter. I said this isn't going to be for everybody, but if I'm saying that I want to grow my faith, then I have to take this action.
Yep.
Which we're going to touch on again, but like step boldly into this
Mm-hmm.
being. And I had said who I want to be, and then Zach had a speech, and I had to change it to who I'm becoming.
You know? Yeah. So it I don't know, it was cool because like what I took away is I want to increase my faith. I want to like strive to be more because in turn I think if I'm pushing my limits, if I'm being bold,
You're going to pull everybody else up with you, man.
yep. And the things that so it goes back to that one where we were like getting vulnerable on that podcast. I want people to look at us as like those people to be like, I'm going to start, I'm going to do this. And we can lead with action because people see us doing it. We're documenting it. We're putting it out there. Because there was at one point where we were like, dude, what do we even like post? We hate fucking recording in the gym. We hate doing this stuff. But then we find those avenues and then people gravitate towards that. You start talking about it, you start getting around people that are more in it, like the running community and stuff like that. There's the cycling community, and then there's all the other things that we do that are positive. And like, I'm happy because I think we're finally going to be implementing and adding faith as a pillar of DTI because one, leaving that conference, but two, I think it's getting me, like I would say you're up here and I'm just putting up here as an analogy. And I'm up here as in the sense of like, I believe I have that faith, but I'm down here in the sense of I never talk about it. I don't put time and attention into it. I haven't grown it. I'm staying at this like flat line, and I want to have that spike. And I want other people to as well, because like, dude, that's what fucking got me out of the darkest times.
Yeah.
Was having faith that I was going to get through it, that things were going to get better, and there was a reason for it. But then also having the ability to go and push the limits with my body physically. And so again, I just think as we continue to like paint this fucking awesome brand and thing that we're working towards, faith is now going to be like a massive part in that as we continue to grow, and you help me get better at it. And I finally,
it goes both ways though. Like I also need people to challenge me and like to get me out of there. But what you just said is very powerful. And I don't even think that you realize that you said it, but you said they got you out of a dark place. So it's easy to have faith when shit's bad because you need help. Like you need somebody to pull you up. But when it's good, it should honestly be even more because you're being blessed to be here. And like, it's a privilege to now be out of that and to be good and to not have to worry about other shit. But it's always in the bad times like, oh, please help me.
Yeah.
It's never thank you for everything I do have.
Yep. That's like my walks lately. Thank you, God, for the sun shining. Oh, it's raining today. Thank you, God, for the rain. Some people need the rain. There's places that need it so bad and they ain't got it. And if they did, I bet you some of them farmers would get down on their knees like, thank you. We had nothing like, and so you start looking at it from that angle and dude, you get happier in life. Like, I don't know. It's just the outside noise. Again, do the breath work come in? The outside noise is so fucking loud that it just makes everything a big fucking bowl or mixing pot. And you're just like, I don't know where to go. Oh, okay, I'm going to go over here today, over here. But once you start getting these things in your life, and this is what I'm realizing, once you start getting this stuff in your life, you can just sit there and see yourself. And you can see what's important. You can see the avenues you want to go down versus spinning. And it's like, oh, I'm over here today. Now I'm over here. Now everything is laid out and you know a line and you know that things are going to get a hiccup. You know that things aren't always going to go smooth. But guess what? You get better at dealing with that and you understand like, all right, it's a season. It's time. Let's get through it. Let's figure out how it's going to get done. Have the conversations, whatever that is. Keep moving. And now you're choosing the direction you want to go. When that next why comes, you'll be able to make that decision a little bit easier because, again, you're more grounded. You're more with yourself and with what's going on in this world than just fucking constantly a swirl pool. Mm-hmm. So
that's day one, and we're already 37 minutes in.
That's wild. Yeah, I guess that was it from day one, unless you have anything else.
No, I mean, it might get tied back because I kind of jumped ahead as well.
Yep.
But not like the jumps off the top of my head. The big ones we just kind of talked about.
Yeah. So day 2, we went on a hike, which was really fun. It was cool being out there.
We got lost in a different way. There's usually a cool overlook where everyone takes photos, like individual photos, like group photos. We didn't go that way this time. And we got to the bottom like, I think we went the wrong way, guys.
Yep. Did the hike. Had our gap before we went back for the keynote speakers. And like originally I was like, well, I kind of wish there was more. But like, dude, it was laid out really nice.
Yeah. And like by the time you get done at night, I was drained.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, dude, I'm going to bed.
Dude, we went back to your aunt's and literally, all right, here's your water.
Yeah. There wasn't even like a hangout in the living room. It was like, dude, I need to go process everything I just heard and lay down.
Yeah. Yep. So then we had the keynote speakers and then, we had the breakout sessions, keynote speakers. And again, they were all super powerful. So
they were all basically keynotes just in another room.
Yeah. Yep. They were nice. One of them obviously stuck out very much and talked to me.
Ryan's was really good.
Yeah.
Ryan's was like a motivational pump up keynote. Mm-hmm. Where the other ones I feel like were introspective.
Yeah.
He was like, all right, let's fucking run through a wall.
Yep. Interaction with boldness, baby. Mm-hmm. What I loved is that it wasn't just interaction. Ryan is a coach of
Ironman, essentially an endurance coach at this point.
Okay, so
tribal training,
an endurance coach, tribal training that is building his brand and stuff like that in a very profound way. Like I like it. I like what they stand for. I like what they're doing. I like the direction that he's taken this and what he's built so far since he was our first guest on our fucking podcast. And to see him up on that stage was just so cool because like 1, I got to fucking meet him. 2, I got to learn more about his story. 3, I got to see his passion and drive. So it's like, let's fucking go, baby. I'm ready.
His confidence is 100 times from where it was when he first started tribal. Mm-hmm. And it's really dope to see like how much it's grown.
His energy too, I feel like from the podcast to how he like speaks now. I was looking at some of his videos online. It's just, you can feel his energy like through his passion and stuff like that as he's talking about it now. But he was talking about taking action with boldness, but not only from a physical stance, but also from like a personal one in relationships that you have, in conversations that you need to have. Like we all as humans kind of like push ourselves to the corner when something hard happens. And we don't have those conversations to be able to get over them. We don't do the things that we need to kind of like move past or forward from things. And so I will speak on this because he posted it as well, but he didn't have a relationship with his father for, I think he said like 5 or 6 months or 5 or 6 years. Okay, so for 5 or 6 years, he didn't have a relationship with his dad. For whatever reason, it fell out. Ryan ended up having a kid and stuff like that. Still didn't have a relationship when they would see each other at family gatherings for like holidays. Wouldn't speak to each other. And he was like, and then one day, my dad entered action with boldness and said that he wanted to complete an Ironman 70.3 and he wanted me to be his coach. He didn't have to do that. He didn't have to reach out to me. He didn't this, that, blah, 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 but he did. And he's like, and in turn, because my dad entered action with boldness, it now, I'm going to say forced, I don't know if he used this word, forced us to be together, to get over things, to have those conversations, because now I'm helping him and we're tied together at something. And so then they started having those conversations. They started doing things. His dad completed the Ironman, and now they have a great relationship that, and he admitted, he's like, we still got to build, we still got to grow on it, but now they have the relationship. And again, it's entering action with boldness. His dad took that step to make it a point to be like, I'm going to fucking do this, and I'm going to do it with my son, and we're going to get through it, and whatever it looks like, cool. Now his dad was at the fucking conference, sitting front row, watching his son speak with the biggest smile on his face, and he talks about it in his speech, and he's pointing to his dad during this, and it just like, I mean, it touched my heart, dude, because I tell you all the time, like, I wish I had this outlook on life. And I told my mom after the conference, I wish I had this outlook on life when dad was here, my dad. So that way I could ask him questions and I could be like, dude, how are you doing? Like, just to look at him and be like, how are you doing? No, how the fuck are you really doing, Dad? How's this? How's that? Like, there's a lot going on in life right now. And so it was really cool to be able to see not only them there, but I took away from that, like, I need to do that in all of my personal relationships with my friends, with my family, with my lady, with my people I don't know, the people I just meet. Like, always go into it being willing to talk and have conversations during hard times that come up. So Ryan's speech really, like, it impacted me a lot.
I think we also get in our own head that we're the child, that it's not really our place, or that we don't have an influence or an impact. But I mean, literally everyone there who had parents around, or even that they talked about, they're all turning them the other way. Dylan talked about how, like, his grandpa's health thing made him get into the nutrition side that's changed the rest of his family. Zach literally said, my mom was never into this stuff. Now she's doing ice baths on her own. All this stuff. She, like, teaches yoga now on the beach. Like, that's her full-time thing because he's retired her and sent her off to Florida.
Yep.
It's like all these people, we feel like we're the kid and, like, it's not on us. But at some point, I feel like it turns. And it's like, well, now, like, they're looking back at, like, oh, what are they doing? Like, how can we get involved there? And it's weird because, like, I would never think that on my own. Yeah. Like, seeing more and more people do it. And then my mom's not signing for a half marathon. It's like all this shit. It's like none of this shit would have just happened on its own. But it's us taking action and doing these things consistently that brings everybody else along. Because I could do this for 6 months. And I have talked about this before. But when I first started working out and I first started posting it, there was someone that we both know who asked my roommate at the time, how long you think this is about to last? And now we're 8 years later and it's still going strong. But it's those people are always going to say something. Tyler said something the first night when he was talking about 7 S's or however many S's it was.
7.
But one of them was strange, and he's talking about how when he started being authentically himself, he felt bad at first because he started to lose friends and he started to get made fun of and all this stuff. But if they don't like you, that's a them problem.
Yep. And Ryan Singh was even talking about, like, doing, so you losing all that weight or whatever, like, taking those physical challenges as well and, like, growing from those and, like, doing what most people wouldn't. So, like, even for marathons or half marathons, like, all that shit, starting at 5K, 10K, whatever it is, like, all of that shit is making you a better person. I mean, I'm sure you could talk for hours about how you're a better person than you were when you were 100 pounds overweight.
Fit people are better than fat people.
Oh, God, baby. So I wanted to, and I'm going to show you it anyways because I'm pissed, but I wanted to show you this. So when we were there, you were like, oh, you got this bike now. You should do an Ironman, this and that, blah, blah, blah.
I literally approached Ryan while you were over in line for the food. I said, if Freddie doesn't talk to you about a 7.3 this weekend, you need to find him.
So I wanted to let you know that I have waited. One, Ty talked about having conversations with, like, your spouse, wife, girlfriend, boyfriend to make decisions because you guys are a team, a unit, this and that. So I wanted to wait to have a conversation with Lo because it is a big financial investment. It will make days shorter because of, like, training and traveling that I'm doing and stuff like that.
You're going to be stressed out.
Yep.
There's going to be certain things you need. Oh, I've been down this path.
Yep. And so I wanted to have the conversation with her, get her blessing, not because she's going to tell me what I can and can't do, but again, it made
You're
me.
a team.
Yep. And so I wanted to make the decision as a team. And we also talked, like, this could bring us closer as well because now you can come out on runs with me and you're going to be doing it for a reason. So now we can both go out there, challenge each other, push each other. And so that was a very, like, big step for me because old me would have just been like, oh, let me do it or not do it. But now that I see the bigger picture and what Lo and I are working towards and stuff like that, I'm like, I got to fucking do this. So we had the conversation and I was like, you know what? It'll be really fucking cool on my 30th birthday to wake up and the first thing I do is text Ryan, I'm ready to take action with Boldness.
Oh, you texted him today?
Uh-huh. I sent him I didn't have his number. So on IG, I sent him a message and I was like, I'm ready to be bold and put bold in all capital letters. And he was like, oh my God, or WTF. He's like, let's hear in all capital letters. And so we were going back and forth, and we have a meeting today after this podcast.
I ruined it because I logged out of the laptop to set up for this podcast.
This is what I was going to do.
And a calendar invite shows up.
This is what I was going to do, is hand you my phone and then have
That's
you
what I saw.
that. So
I was like, oh, Ryan 7.3 conversation.
So I am entering action with boldness, going into my 30s. I think that I hate running. We all know that. I love biking, so that'll be good. Swimming intimidates me because I've never swam to need to be good at it.
Do hard things, baby.
Do hard things. Interaction with boldness. And so I was like, on my 30th, this will be really fucking cool. And then I was going to tell you on here and text my guy Tone after this and send him that picture as well. Because what I'm hoping this will do is, one, I know it's going to get me out of my comfort zone. I know it's going to be challenging. I know it's going to be stressful. I know it's going to be overwhelming at times. And I know that I'm going to have to change my lifestyle around. Mm-hmm. That it doesn't matter if I'm going home. I got to figure a way to get it done. Yep. It doesn't matter if I'm traveling for work. I got to figure a way to get it done. It doesn't matter. I got to figure a way to get it done. And what this in turn, and what I'm hoping that it gets out, is not only gives me that avenue that we've talked about of what is my niche on the internet. It's going to be easy now because I have the passion to want to achieve this. So there's still a lot that has to be talked about on this call. There's still a lot that I have to look at to be like, okay, financially, this, all this makes sense. I'm going to go with it. And so it's going to happen. I'm going to make it happen, whatever it looks like.
Do you have an idea of a race in mind, or you're open right now?
A little open, but I want it to be somewhere around us.
Kind of local?
Yeah.
I was just considering, like, are you trying to do one with Chad, who we know is also running one, or are you going to try to do like a tribal team thing?
So
I know they do Chattanooga, which isn't that far. It can't be that far, right?
I don't think so.
Tennessee.
Because that's what he said as well.
Yeah.
But this will, like, it'll be a 2025. I'm not doing it this year.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
But I'm going to start training ASAP for it.
Yeah, it's too late in the year. Anyway.
Yeah.
Take your time.
Yeah. So I'll figure out a lot of answers today on this call. But again, taking action with boldness, because what I hope, you know, when you hit the register and it's like cha-ching and the drawer opens, what I hope that like that cha-ching is when you hit a jackpot, when you hit whatever, is not only will it give me that voice to be able to like show the things that we're passionate about on here, but I think what it's going to do is challenge me so much that it's going to make us grow substantially in this realm to like, okay, now this, and everything
we're about to
starts.
Be endurance guys.
I know, it's weird. So I'm excited for it. It's still a very unknown road and stuff like that, but I entered action with boldness on my 30th birthday. I'm going to achieve it. I'm going to cross that finish line. So now it's just figuring out how that's going to happen and a way to make that happen. So
I'm pumped.
We will see. But yeah, more to come on that. I wanted to break the news on here, but unfortunately technology is too smart and links everything together. So that was a big thing that I took away from the conference as well, was entering action with boldness and doing things that might be a little intimidating or scary because they're going towards like your end goals or purpose in life. So
yeah, I'm pumped for you.
Thank you.
I'm excited to see what you guys talk about and then go from there.
There we go. So that's a wrap on that.
I think we could probably go on for a while, but we're already about 50 minutes in.
Okay.
So maybe, I don't even know if we necessarily need to recap anymore, but I think like we're going to have topics on this for months to come.
Yeah. It might even be cool, and
they'll get tied back in.
But it might even be cool to like get permission from those guys. Hey, can we play this at the beginning of our podcast? And then we break it down and talk through it. It might be something cool if they let us do that.
I'm sure that, I mean, if it's on YouTube,
yeah,
fair game, baby.
Because I want all of our viewers to watch that. So hopefully they get tied to Do Hard Things as well. Because another thing is all of those guys there were building businesses, bro. Every single one of them that are generally in the same realm, not a care in the world. They know that everybody can eat. They know that and they know that they got their special niches, why people will gravitate towards them. But that doesn't mean that those communities can't come together and be together. Even if they're not even niched down,
it's like, I'm going to connect with somebody else is going to connect to somebody. Everybody connects in different ways.
Yeah.
You got to find the one that resonates with you and go with them.
Yep. So, main message, interaction with boldness, grow your faith. I promise, I think, and I know that there's nothing better when instead of spinning in this pot that everybody's mixing and just bouncing around in life, when you have those lanes, when you have those avenues of things that you're working on and have those pillars outlined, you know direction where to go in life. So things don't seem as loud, seem as chaotic as they can if you don't start putting things in place. So have the desire to inspire. Go after whatever the fuck your dream is. Don't think that you can't change anything that's happened in life for the better, for the turn, whatever you want. Go out and achieve that. Start putting little action items in there. Compound on those habits daily and start checking things off. Kiss your mama for us. It's home.
Peace.